informants, or CIs for short, we tend to think of people who are well trained to deal with narcotics and crime. However, many people do not know that there is a small population of confidential informants that are actually college students, and that there have been various cases of them being endangered due to not being trained well enough or having any real knowledge of narcotic deals. This is relevant because as we are in college, we may know someone who may become coerced into becoming a confidential informant. And we must stay aware of our rights and the dangers of what becoming a CI entails. The sources that have been cited for this presentation have all credible authors, journalists, and even law enforcement officers that have been interviewed. In the next couple of minutes, I will briefly describe what confidential informants are, as well as the severe consequences that becoming one has. I will also talk about the legal issues of having college students as confidential informants, the coercion and pressure that they face to become CIs, and the ridiculously high expectations that are almost impossible to meet. According to the Drug Policy Alliance by Tony Newman on December 7th, 2015, confidential informants are informants that secretly work for law enforcement to entrap people on drug charges in exchange for reduced charges. According to CBS's Special and Confidential Informants with Leslie Stahl on December 6, 2015, these confidential informants are typically college students that have gotten caught with minor drug possessions, such as marijuana, most commonly marijuana, and are facing outrageous sentences, like a maximum sentence of 20 years or and a $20,000 fine. Stahl also states that once they are caught, they are told they have two options by law enforcement officers. They can either be prosecuted with their Class A felonies or take up the chance of becoming a CI and having their sentences reduced. Although the benefits of becoming a CI may seem be worth the risk of, dealing with big-time drug dealers, we must take in mind the severe consequences that many confidential informants have had to go through, and that is death. The following two cases should appeal to our pathos because of the tragic and emotionally loaded content. According to the Boston College Journal of Law and Social Justice by Ian Lesson in the spring of 2012, the most famous case of a confidential informant gone wrong is that of Rachel Hoffman from Florida in 2008, who was found dead with 5 gunshot wounds 36 hours after she was supposed to make a very huge drug bust in the state of Florida. Lesson reports that Rachel was 23 years old when ecstasy pills and marijuana were found in her apartment. According to Reason by Anthony L. Fisher in October 2015, another case gone horribly wrong is that of Andrew Sadax from North Dakota in 2014, who was found dead in the Red River with a gunshot wound to his head. Fisher further states that Andrew had been working as a confidential informant at the time of his death, and nothing else is known about his death other than his assignment as a CI was not going as planned. Many people speculate and are sure that the drug dealers he was in contact with have some relation to his death. Now that you have seen the harshest consequences of becoming a confidential informant, the question becomes this: what is it about them that makes them susceptible to such tragedies? According to Stoller in her 60 Minutes special, one thing that both Andrew and Rachel had in common was that they were not qualified for the jobs they were given. Law enforcement officers have had years of training. They've had to go to school for this. They are knowledgeable in this area. However, college students, young adults, don't have any idea whatsoever of the field. And that is why it has proven to be very dangerous. Stella also reports that many of these CIs, when performing drug busts, are only given a wire and no protection whatsoever. The case of Rachel, the cops were going to be around the area where the drug bust was going to happen, but at the last minute, the location changed, leaving Rachel Hoffman without any protection and only a wire. And when the drug dealer found the wire, they killed her. And the police officers had no knowledge of her whereabouts until much later. If they had been better protected once going in for the buys, their deaths might have been prevented. Facing extreme sentences further pressures young adults into becoming CIs, and they think this is the easy way to get out. However, once they are met with their quotas, everything changes. The following should appeal to our logos because the quotas these CIs are given are not logical or rational by any means. Lesley Stahl also reports that once these young adults give in to law enforcement officers, they are to obey every order. And that means that they are to complete their quota of how many drug busts they should be involved in. Stahl states that many of these quotas are impossible to complete, such as C.I. Gregg's mission of finding 10 people to buy marijuana from. Attorney Ken Coughlin states in Stahl's film special that a high number of buys creates a perversive incentive for kids to entice other kids to break the law, and it becomes a vicious cycle. Now that you have seen how terrible and dangerous it is coercing a young adult to becoming a CI, I would like to propose a solution to this problem. Since many people do not know that confidential informants come in all ages, it is important to be aware of the targeted audience and realize the dangers that come of becoming a CI. Many states are working to ban the program of CIs on college students. Become educated and know your rights, as stated by Lessin in his article. One counter-argument used is that CIs are one of the most important tools in law enforcement today, as stated in Christian Science Monitor by Michael Clayton on June 10, 2013. He further states that this information these criminals provide is needed and that they should be helped and protected completely. Another counter-argument used is that it does not matter if becoming a CI is dangerous for them, since they have been involved in the drug trade and have been susceptible for danger, as stated by policeman Joe Weber and Lesley Special. All I can say for both counter-arguments is that there are other means of getting criminal information and that the duty of law enforcement is to enforce the law and not make CAs out of unqualified people. Furthermore, many of these CIs face dangers that they never would have faced if not having become a CI. They buy drugs from their friends and they rarely ever see a huge drug bust or are ever involved in one. Although the facts are right there, although the facts are right there that college students as CIs is risky business, many law enforcement officers nonetheless think it is a great idea to continue to use them. As it has been stated, having young adult confidential informants is a very risky business. These CIs are not trained at all to take part in drug busts, find it hard to meet their goals of drug busts, and in many cases have ended tragically in death. This is why the use of confidential informants on young adults should be banned. Now think back to what I said at the beginning. What is your view on confidential informants, not that you know specific cases that ended violently in death? As a young generation ourselves, think to a friend that you care about and imagine if anything like that happened to Rachel or Andrew happened to your friend. What is your opinion then?